There's a feeling you wake up with. It's not pain exactly, not sadness. It's more subtle than that. It's a tightness in your chest that never fully releases. A background hum of dread that colors everything you do. You could be having a good day, objectively good, and still feel it there waiting, reminding you that something is wrong, even when nothing is wrong. That's anxiety. And if you're not careful, it doesn't just visit you, it becomes you. I know this feeling intimately, not from a textbook, not from theory, from years of living with a mind that wouldn't shut off, that treated every decision like a life or death scenario, that could turn a simple conversation into evidence of impending disaster. I know what it's like to feel like you're drowning while everyone around you is breathing just fine. I know what it's like to be exhausted from a battle that no one else can see. And I know what it takes to break free from it. Not by eliminating anxiety, that's not how it works, but by learning to detach from it, by stopping the process where anxiety stops being something you experience and becomes something that controls you, by reclaiming your mind from the storm that's been living inside it. If you're here because you're tired of living like this, tired of the constant worry, the endless what-ifs, the feeling that your own mind is your enemy, then you're in the right place. This isn't going to be motivational fluff. This isn't going to tell you to just think positive or breathe deeply and everything will magically fix itself. This is the real work, the work that actually changes things. But you have to be willing to go deep. You have to be willing to look at what you've been avoiding. So if you're ready for that, stay with me, because what I'm about to share with you could change everything. Let's begin. Anxiety is a liar. That's the first thing you need to understand. It presents itself as truth, as rational concern, as your mind trying to protect you. But it's not truth. It's a distortion, a corruption of your mind's natural threat detection system, now firing constantly at shadows and possibilities instead of actual dangers. And the more you believe it, the stronger it gets. The more you treat its warnings as facts, the more control you give it over your life. There's a version of anxiety that's useful, the kind that keeps you alert when you're crossing a dangerous street, the kind that helps you prepare for an important moment, the kind that's proportional to actual risk and disappears when the risk passes. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the anxiety that lives with you, the kind that doesn't need a reason, the kind that finds reasons, the kind that takes a neutral situation and turns it into a catastrophe in your mind before anything has even happened. This is the anxiety that destroys you, not quickly, not dramatically, but slowly, day by day, stealing your peace, your presence, your ability to actually live instead of constantly preparing for disasters that will never come. It convinces you that worry is the same as wisdom, that constant vigilance is the same as strength, that if you just think about every possible bad outcome enough, you can somehow prevent them all from happening. But you can't. All you can do is make yourself sick trying. I spent years like this. My mind was a prison, and anxiety was the warden. Every decision became a maze of potential consequences. Every interaction became something to replay and analyze for hidden meanings and mistakes. Every moment of peace was interrupted by the question, what am I forgetting to worry about? What disaster am I not preparing for? What's about to go wrong? And the worst part wasn't the anxiety itself. It was how exhausting it was to live that way, to be constantly tense, constantly on alert, constantly treating your own mind like an enemy you had to negotiate with. I'd go to bed exhausted and wake up exhausted because my mind never rested. Even sleep was filled with anxious dreams, with the same spiraling thoughts, just dressed up in different imagery. The turning point came when I realized something that changed everything. The anxiety wasn't the problem. My relationship with the anxiety was the problem. My belief that the anxious thoughts were true. my compulsion to engage with them, to argue with them, to try to solve the problems they presented. My identification with them, treating anxiety as something I was rather than something I was experiencing. This is what detachment means in the context of anxiety. It means recognizing that the anxious thoughts and feelings are not you. They're not facts. They're not commands you have to obey. They're mental events, experiences passing through your consciousness, and you have the power to observe them without being controlled by them. The Stoics understood this better than almost anyone. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events. That realization, he said, is your strength. But what does that actually mean in practice? It means that while you can't control whether anxious thoughts arise, you can control whether you believe them, whether you engage with them, whether you let them dictate your actions. Epictetus taught that what disturbs people's minds is not events, but their judgments about events. Think about that. Your anxiety isn't caused by what's happening or what might happen. It's caused by your interpretation, your judgment, your story about what it all means. And stories can be changed, interpretations can be questioned, judgments can be observed instead of believed. But here's where most people get stuck. They think detaching from anxiety means suppressing it, pushing it down, pretending it's not there. That's not detachment, that's avoidance. And avoidance makes anxiety stronger because it teaches your mind that anxiety is dangerous, that it's something to be feared and fled from, which only creates more anxiety about being anxious. Real detachment is different. It's observing the anxiety without judgment. It's allowing it to be there without needing it to go away. It's feeling the physical sensations, the tight chest, the racing heart, the shallow breathing, and recognizing them as sensations, not as evidence that something is actually wrong. It's watching the thoughts spiral and recognizing them as thoughts, not as accurate predictions of the future. This sounds simple. It's not. Your entire nervous system is designed to take anxiety seriously. Your mind evolved to treat potential threats as if they're immediate dangers because in our evolutionary past, that was adaptive. The human who worried about every rustle in the bushes lived longer than the one who assumed everything was fine. But we no longer live in that world. The threats aren't behind bushes. They're mostly in our minds. And the same mechanism that kept our ancestors alive now keeps us imprisoned. So you have to retrain your mind. You have to teach it that not every anxious thought deserves a response. That not every feeling of dread means something bad is about to happen. That you can feel anxiety and still be okay. That anxiety is uncomfortable but not dangerous. That the sensations will pass if you stop fighting them. I learned this through practice, through sitting with anxiety instead of running from it, through feeling my heart race and my thoughts spiral and choosing to observe instead of react, through saying to myself, this is anxiety, this is what anxiety feels like, and I don't need to do anything about it right now, through letting it be there without making it mean something catastrophic about my life or my future or my worth. And something remarkable happened. The anxiety didn't disappear, but it lost its power. It became something I experienced rather than something that controlled me. It became background noise instead of the main event. I could feel anxious and still make decisions, still have conversations, still move forward with my life. The anxiety was there, but I was no longer imprisoned by it. This is what detachment gives you. Not freedom from anxiety, that's an unrealistic goal, and chasing it will only create more anxiety. But freedom within anxiety, the ability to feel it without being paralyzed by it, to acknowledge it without believing everything it tells you, to carry it without letting it determine the direction of your life. Let me break down what this actually looks like in practice. You wake up with that familiar tightness in your chest, the feeling that something is wrong. Your mind immediately starts searching for what it could be. What did you forget? What's going to go wrong today? What are people thinking about you? What failure are you about to experience? The old pattern would be to engage with these thoughts, to try to answer them, to mentally rehearse every possible scenario, to check and recheck and plan and worry until you'd convinced yourself you'd covered every base. But you know from experience that this never actually works. The anxiety doesn't go away. It just finds new things to latch onto. The new pattern, the detached pattern, is different. You notice the tightness in your chest. You acknowledge it. This is anxiety. I'm experiencing anxiety right now. You don't try to make it go away. You don't judge yourself for feeling it. You just recognize it for what it is, a sensation, a mental state, not a truth about reality. Then you notice the thoughts, the spiraling what-ifs, the catastrophic predictions, and instead of engaging with them, you observe them. You watch them like clouds passing through the sky. There's the thought about work going wrong. There's the thought about people judging you. There's the thought about something bad happening to someone you love, and you let them pass. You don't grab onto them. You don't argue with them. You don't try to solve the problems they present. You just watch them arise and dissolve, arise and dissolve. This is so hard at first because your mind is screaming at you to engage. What if this one is real? What if you're ignoring something important? What if not worrying about it makes it more likely to happen? These are anxiety's tricks. Its way of keeping you hooked, and you have to learn to recognize them as tricks instead of as legitimate concerns. Seneca wrote about this. He talked about how we suffer more in imagination than in reality, how the mind torments itself with possibilities that never materialize, how we experience disasters in advance through worry, then experience them again if they actually happen, then continue experiencing them through regret and rumination. We live the same pain multiple times, all because we believe that worrying about it serves some purpose. But it doesn't. Worry doesn't prevent bad things from happening. It just prevents you from being present for the good things that are happening right now. It steals your peace without providing any actual protection. It's a false bargain your anxiety-driven mind has convinced you to accept. Detaching from this pattern requires you to confront a hard truth. You are not in control of most of what happens in your life. You can influence some things. You can make wise choices. You can prepare. You can work hard. But ultimately, you cannot control outcomes. You cannot prevent every possible negative scenario. You cannot worry your way to safety. And trying to do so is what's making you sick. This is where most people resist. Because accepting that you're not in control feels terrifying when you have anxiety. It feels like giving up, like surrendering to chaos. But it's actually the opposite. It's accepting reality instead of fighting against it. And in that acceptance, you find a strange kind of peace. Because if you're not responsible for controlling everything, then you can stop exhausting yourself trying. I remember when this clicked for me. I was worrying about something. I don't even remember what anymore, which tells you how important it actually was. And I caught myself mid-spiral. I asked myself, what am I actually trying to accomplish with this worry? What's the goal here? And I realized there wasn't one. I wasn't solving a problem. I wasn't preventing a disaster. I was just suffering. Just running on a hamster wheel in my mind, going nowhere but getting more exhausted with every step. So I stopped. Not permanently. It's not that simple. But in that moment, I stopped. I acknowledged the anxiety. I felt it in my body. And I chose not to engage with the thoughts. I chose to be present instead, to notice where I was, what I was doing, what was actually happening right now, instead of what might happen later. And in that moment, I was okay. The anxiety was still there, but I was okay. That's the practice. That's what detachment looks like, It's not a one-time realization that fixes everything. It's a choice you make again and again, moment by moment, thought by thought. The choice to observe instead of engage, to be present instead of lost in possibility, to acknowledge anxiety without letting it run your life. One of the most powerful tools for this is understanding the difference between responding and reacting. When anxiety hits, your instinct is to react, to immediately do something to make the feeling go away, to fix the problem the anxious thoughts are presenting, to seek reassurance, to avoid the situation entirely. These reactions are driven by the anxiety itself. They're attempts to escape the discomfort, and they actually reinforce the anxiety by teaching your mind that the discomfort is something to be escaped from. Responding is different. Responding means pausing, observing, asking yourself, is this anxiety reflecting an actual problem that needs addressing right now? Or is this just anxiety doing what anxiety does, creating problems that don't exist? Most of the time, it's the latter, and in those cases, the response is to do nothing. To let the anxiety be there and continue with whatever you were doing. To prove to your nervous system that you can function even when you feel this way. This is exposure in its purest form. Not exposing yourself to external situations you fear, but exposing yourself to the internal experience of anxiety without trying to fix it or escape it. And over time, this teaches your mind that anxiety isn't dangerous, that you can feel it and be okay, that it doesn't need to be treated as an emergency. But you have to be consistent. You can't practice detachment one day and then fall back into the old patterns the next. Well, you can, and you will, because this is hard and nobody is perfect. But the goal is to catch yourself faster each time, to notice when you're engaging with anxious thoughts instead of observing them, to recognize when you're reacting instead of responding, and to gently, without judgment, return to the practice of detachment. The physical component of this cannot be ignored. Anxiety lives in your body as much as in your mind. The tension in your shoulders, the knot in your stomach, the rapid breathing, the racing heart. And you cannot detach from anxiety if you're constantly physically activated. This is where breathing actually matters, not as some cure-all, but as a way to signal to your nervous system that you're safe even when your mind is telling you you're not. When you feel anxiety rising, slow your breathing. Not to make the anxiety go away, but to prevent it from escalating. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4, out for 6. Do this while observing the anxious thoughts, while feeling the physical sensations, while remaining present. This isn't about controlling the anxiety. It's about staying grounded in your body while the storm passes through your mind. Movement helps too. Walking, exercise. Anything that reminds your body it's safe, that there's no actual threat requiring fight or flight. Your anxiety is often a mismatch between your physical state and your mental state. Your mind is perceiving danger while your body is sitting safely on a couch. Moving your body helps close that gap. It gives the activated energy somewhere to go instead of just cycling through your nervous system, creating more tension. But again, these are tools for managing anxiety, not for making it disappear. The goal isn't to have perfect control over your anxious feelings. The goal is to function and live well even when those feelings are present. To stop making your peace conditional on not feeling anxious. To stop treating anxiety as something that needs to be fixed before you can move forward with your life. This might be the most important point. You don't need to feel better to do better. You don't need the anxiety to go away before you take action, before you have the difficult conversation, before you pursue the goal, before you do the thing that matters. You can do all of those things while feeling anxious. Anxiety is uncomfortable, but it doesn't actually prevent you from doing anything. What prevents you is believing that you can't do things while anxious. I've done some of the most important things in my life while feeling anxious, had crucial conversations while my heart was racing, made significant decisions while my mind was spinning with what-ifs, taken meaningful action while feeling that familiar tightness in my chest. And every time I did, I proved to myself that anxiety is not a barrier, it's just a feeling, an uncomfortable feeling that I can carry with me while still moving forward. This is what courage actually is, not the absence of fear or anxiety, but the willingness to act in spite of it, to feel the discomfort and do the thing anyway, to detach from the feeling enough that it doesn't control your choices. This is the kind of strength that matters. Not the fake strength of pretending you don't feel anything, but the real strength of feeling everything and still doing what needs to be done. The ancient Stoics called this living in accordance with nature. They meant accepting what is, including your own anxious thoughts and feelings, while still acting in alignment with your values. Not letting the internal weather determine whether you do what's right or meaningful or important. Understanding that you can't control the thoughts and feelings that arise, but you can control what you do with them. Marcus Aurelius faced constant anxiety. He was emperor of Rome during a time of plague, war, and political instability. He had every reason to be consumed by worry, and he felt it all. You can see it in his writing, the way he talks himself through his fears and doubts. But he didn't let it stop him from doing his duty, from leading with wisdom, from being present for what mattered. He practiced detachment not as a way to escape his anxiety, but as a way to function despite it. That's what's available to you. Not a life without anxiety. That's not realistic for most of us. But a life where anxiety is no longer the dominant force, where it's something you experience rather than something that defines you, where you can feel it and still be at peace, still be present, still be yourself. But this requires you to give up something. You have to give up the belief that you can think your way to safety, that if you just worry enough, plan enough, control enough, you can prevent bad things from happening. This is the hardest thing to release because it feels like you're making yourself vulnerable, like you're inviting disaster by not being vigilant. But the truth is, you're already vulnerable. You've always been vulnerable. Life is inherently uncertain and unpredictable, and no amount of anxiety will change that. What you can change is how you relate to that uncertainty. You can fight against it, resist it, let it torment you, or you can accept it, not in a defeated way, but in a peaceful way. You can acknowledge that you don't know what will happen, that bad things might happen, that you can't prevent every possible negative outcome, and you can choose to be okay anyway, to live fully anyway, to be present for your actual life instead of lost in imaginary futures. This is what detachment from anxiety ultimately means. It means accepting uncertainty. It means acknowledging your limitations. It means recognizing that your mind's predictions about the future are just stories, not facts. It means feeling the discomfort of not knowing and choosing to be at peace with it. It means trusting that you can handle whatever comes instead of trying to prepare for every possible scenario. I won't tell you this is easy. It's not. It goes against every instinct your anxious mind has developed. It feels wrong at first. It feels like you're being irresponsible or naive or setting yourself up for disaster. But that feeling is just more anxiety, more resistance to accepting what is. And the more you practice sitting with that feeling, the more you realize it's just that, a feeling, not a truth, not a warning, just discomfort that you can learn to carry. Start small. Pick one thing you're anxious about, one worry that's been cycling through your mind, and practice detachment with it. Observe the thought without engaging. Feel the anxiety without trying to fix it. Let it be there while you go about your day. Notice how nothing terrible happens. Notice how you survive the discomfort. Notice how the thought eventually loses its intensity when you stop feeding it with your attention. Then practice with another worry, and another. Not all at once. This isn't about overwhelming yourself, but gradually, consistently, building the skill of observation instead of reaction, of presence instead of projection, of acceptance instead of resistance. And be patient with yourself. You will slip back into old patterns. You will engage with anxious thoughts you meant to observe. You will react instead of respond. This is normal. This is part of the process. What matters is that you notice when it happens and gently return to the practice, without judgment, without making it mean you've failed. Just returning again and again to the simple act of observing your mind instead of being controlled by it. Over time, something shifts. The anxiety is still there sometimes, maybe often, but it's quieter, less urgent, less believable. You start to see your thoughts for what they are, mental events, not commands. You start to feel your body's signals without interpreting them as emergencies. You start to live with more presence, more peace, more freedom. This is what's possible for you, not a perfect life without anxiety, but a good life with anxiety, a life where you're no longer at war with your own mind, where you can experience discomfort without being defined by it, where you can feel anxious and still be okay, still move forward, still find meaning and connection and joy. The anxiety wants you to believe it's protecting you. It wants you to believe that worrying is wise, that constant vigilance is strength, that if you just think hard enough you can control what happens. But that's the lie. The truth is that detachment is the real protection. Because when you're no longer controlled by anxiety, when you're no longer living in fear of your own thoughts and feelings, when you're no longer treating uncertainty as an enemy, that's when you're truly safe. Not safe from bad things happening, but safe within yourself. Grounded, present, free. This is the work. Not glamorous, not quick, but real, and worth every difficult moment of practice. Because on the other side of this detachment is a version of your life where you're no longer drowning, where you're breathing, where you're here, now, present for what's actually happening instead of lost in what might happen. That life is waiting for you. It's available right now. Not when the anxiety goes away. Not when you've figured everything out. Not when you've controlled every variable. Right now, in this moment. All you have to do is stop fighting, stop engaging, stop believing every thought that arises, and start observing, start accepting, start detaching. The anxiety will still be there sometimes, but you won't be its prisoner anymore. You'll be free, not free from discomfort, but free within it. And that freedom, that real, hard-won, moment-by-moment freedom, is everything. Now, begin.